This is another golf course for dummies. I thought I would finish with the water contamination series. Remember, golf course for dummies is my last job. But it basically covers every golf course in the United States. You know, they call themselves saving money. Now, let me give you some history about why I'm doing this golf course for dummies series, right? When President Clinton was going over my history, he said the expert all stated that you are the most powerful black man in golf. That if you start to writing, which we seriously doubt that because you are introvert. They say due to your situation in life with being a what you went through, it's going to make you withdraw from society. You basically going to be a hermit, uh, a loner, or an introvert because ain't nobody you can talk to going to be able to relate to you because you're the only one in the world with your degree, black person, you know. And if you go to writing something, people are going to go to killing themselves, and they say you can bankrupt 85% of the golf courses in America and maybe around the world. Nobody sees what you see. Say the government tried to penetrate the golfing industry a couple of times, but it's just too technical for us to get somebody up in management. Say right now, son, you is powerful than the federal government. And I want you to do me one favor. Write about what you see. Because you're always going to be second or third. You're never going to be number one. Because that like putting a black man over the slave plantation, which is where golf courses come from. There was a loophole in the slavery law that if they turned their place into a place of recreational country clubs and resorts, they can continue to have their old-fashioned living to pass on for generation and generation. So the world need to see what an educated black man see behind the scenes of all. And over the years, you know, I didn't thought about that. I forgot all about it. Until my boss paid one of my workers for missing 12 weeks, and then he paid the other one for missing 8 weeks. And then I got sick, and remind you, we got no sick days. And then when I got sick, I look at my paycheck, he just paid me my 1 week vacation. And I'm like, man, how can you pay my workers, but you can't pay me? He said, oh, it rang. It rang. It rang. Which I know that was bullshit because golf courses get their budget at the beginning of the year. So, but anyway, that little flame in me. That little flame in me. Now y'all done seen some of these videos about golf course for dummies. Now y'all know he got to be one dumb son of a bitch to tick me off. When he was told by my classmates, salesmen, and other superintendents that they would be scared to death for me to work for them. And he said, why? They say because everything he do is history, son. So he see everything you do, even when he ain't around. And if he go to writing, boy, we feel sorry for you. And wherever you work, right? So that will bring us here. Golf course for dummies. And if it weren't for that, just a simple treat me equal to what you treat the white workers. the world would have never heard about this guy. The world would have never heard about the things that go on behind the scenes of a golf course. The world wouldn't know. But I decided to be the only black leader who's going to be known for saving millions and millions of white people. White people who play golf. White people who like to wine and dine at country clubs and resorts. White people who like to live on golf course property, which you could put a gun in my head and I wouldn't do it. Oh, the hell no. No way. I can't imagine what the water table look like when they hire dummies. I can't imagine what the air quality is when they hire dummies. I can't imagine touching a tree or a wall in a golf community that hire dummies. Cause dummy don't care. Dummy don't care about nothing. Only thing dummy know is dummy got a good job making good money. That's all dummy care about. And that for as one big mistake all golf courses make, and I want all the golf courses in the world to hear this. Stop making golf pros director of maintenance. Stop making golf pros general managers. Stop this daily profit bullshit. When you give a golf pro daily profit, you basically signing a death warrant for you and everybody who play golf there and everybody who live in that community. Because hell or high water, they is not closing down. You can show them restricted chemical label that say it's killed even when used properly to close down for 24 to 48 hours. That means nothing to them. To them, well, if we close today, I was expecting to make $600 today. Because see, daily profit, they get off top at the end of the day. Stop giving these guys daily profit because y'all putting everyone in that club life in extreme danger. I just seen 2 or 3 deaths because of the daily profit stuff. They put out restricted chemicals, and then by 12 o'clock, you get a call. Dead man on number 2. Go check if he's still breathing. Because his treason went on to continue to play. But they say he dead. Then we go in the office. Hey, didn't you put out an crew today? Dummy say, yeah. Well, what you need to do, you dig a hole and burn all the bags and burn the chemical record. Because we can't let them find out that we put out Nimicure today. Burn the bags, death unknown. You know, the guy, you know, they're going to put it like a heart attack or whatever. But check this out. I was making my rounds one day. It's a private company stopped me, irrigation company, and say, hey, man, something crazy happened. I said, what? He said, you see all them water trucks right there? I said, yeah. He said, they didn't shut off the water to this whole property. He said, so I decided to go ahead and cut the pump and put another pump on real quick because the people say when they water in their grass, they lose pressure inside the house. So I was going to get a bigger pump. He said, but goddamn, I cut the pump and water shooting 50 feet in the air. I say, damn, man, I don't know what's going on there. Because I'm looking at the water plant people, you know, because they office right by our office, and I'm looking at the water shooting the air. I called my boss. I say, boss, man, come to King Courts. He come to King Courts, which is a apartment complex, a condo, you know, on Country Club, they have different condos named after famous people, and most of the famous people stay at these places from time to time. And my boss say, "Oh, I'll go cut the pumps off." I say, "Go cut what pump off?" He said, "Well, I pump because this whole system is tied into the irrigation pump." I'm like, "Man, what you talking about?" He's like, "See, when I first got here, the first time I got here, that was back in the 90s, I think, it wasn't getting no pressure in the roadways. So we decided to hook the golf course irrigation to the common ground middle irrigation where it hooked to the water plant. And while we were doing it, this complex here, some of the owner asked us, can we hook up to their system so they can get more pressure? And they say they can buy their own drinking water. Oh, so he left and he cut it off. But he told me to help the guy so we can cut the water on real quick, right? So I helped the guy fix it. And the guy said, "Man, you work fast. You ain't got to measure nothing." And I said, "Yes, sir. They're like minor work compared to what we had to work on, you know." I said, "We work on 8, 2.5 on up to 10-inch pipe." I said, "Y'all working on 3/4 to a 1/2 inch pipe." So I said, "No, we did this child play to us." So when we fix it, he said, "Hey, you do know what that mean, right?" I said, "I know what it mean." I said, "They drinking lake water." He said, "Yeah." He said, "That crazy. I ain't never seen that." I said, "Sir, you want to know the sad part? Our lake water is also hooked to the sewage plant." That man turned blue. You say the sewage plant hooked to the irrigation water? I said, "Yeah, that reduce your fertilizer costs. Because fertilizer ain't nothing but waste." And I go back to my boss and I say, "Boss, you realize that them people drinking lake and sewage water, right?" He said, "Yeah, but they the one ask for it because they wanted more pressure on the irrigation." I said, "Boss, that was like 30 years ago. These people now who in them condos don't know nothing about that shit, man." I said, "Man, they crazy. You got to cap that, bro. And they just gonna have to buy their own separate wells." He said, "They ain't gonna want to buy no well." I said, "You don't know what?" I said, "Bro, these people living in $1 million, goddamn on $1 million property. They drinking lake and shit water, bro. It's all tied into the goddamn water plant for drinking water, bro." "Yeah, but you don't really drink water out the faucet, don't you?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, most white people, they buy their water." I say, "Don't you know the skin is a sponge? When they take a shower, the skin is absorbing that water. Whatever poison in there, whatever bacteria, all of it soaking through their skin. The filter can't catch all that, man." I say, "Boy." And I left it up. I dropped my hand. That's what you get for hiring dummies. And I hope this is the last one. I hope I don't think of no more dummy story for toxic water. But other than that, man, y'all be careful when y'all go to these places. I don't care if they owned by the Queen of Sheba or Henry V. Even though it looks simple, it may not be because you don't know what happened behind the scenes. That's another episode of Golf Course for Dummies.